Anyway, we're gonna watch the tornado event that happened in
The 2011 Super Outbreak is by far the most devastating tornado event in recent times, completely destroying dozens of communities across multiple states in the southeast. But one tornado is remembered particularly for the sheer impact it had on the people.
I know I had a friend that was in Tuscaloosa, and yeah, they recorded the tornado, by the way.
Of Alabama. This tornado struck not just one, but two large metropolitan areas. This, of course, is the EF4 that impacted the south side of Tuscaloosa and tracked over 80 miles to Birmingham, Alabama. This is the story of the most infamous tornado in Alabama history.
That thing traveled for so long.
April 27th, 2011 was predicted to have high-end parameters for tornadoes several days out. The day before, on the 26th, the Storm Prediction Center issued a high-risk outlook with a 30% hatched risk for tornadoes. But on the morning of the 27th, observed instability in wind shear, the ingredients that are essential for powerful tornadoes, were even.
And see, like, right around this time, I didn't really experience a whole lot of tornadoes. Didn't really see a whole lot of them. So I mean, I was with friends during this time. Thank goodness I was with friends, and not near anything. Yeah, so we were just kind of joking around like, oh, it's that tornado, blah, 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 blah. And then we just kind of kept watching the weather, and we're like, oh, this is not good. It just kept getting
worse than predicted, prompting the SPC to up the tornado risk to 45%, suggesting this day was going to be historic. By 2 p.m., a tornado outbreak was underway. Strong tornadic supercells in northern Mississippi are already producing strong tornadoes, including an EF5 in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Further south, another supercell formed, but it still needed time to mature. Other storms across the region began producing prolific tornadoes, but the storm to the south was still chugging along, moving into an increasingly favorable environment.
I don't know why, I've just never seen, I guess I've never seen like a video about these tornadoes, and just now watching them again is, I don't know, it's making my
James
skin crawl a little
and the ABC News crew are watching that storm very closely, noticing how the storm's path is going straight towards Tuscaloosa, the 5th most populated city in Alabama.
And again, that one's going to want to move in this direction. So I'm just telling you, if this stays on that.
If he's not wearing his coat, by the way, you better pay attention to the weather, by the way. That's just a meme.
That same track, that's going to wind up in Tuscaloosa.
It's not long until those fears are realized. By 4:30 p.m., a tornado touches down just northwest of Union, Alabama. Damage is initially quite sporadic, with patches of trees being brought down as the tornado.
We got ads? No! Thanks for watching so far. If you like the content, please drop a like and subscribe. It's free and it helps me out. I'm live most days at 7 p.m. CST. If you want to swing by and say hello, enjoy the rest of the video. Welcome back. I stopped the video for you guys. Welcome back. Okay, cool. I'm gonna push the video back a little bit. You're free now. Welcome back from the ad break. Wow. But yeah, I'm not sure when you guys started, but nice pose, by the way. Whenever he takes his coat or his jacket off when he's doing the weather, he is very serious. You need to
going
pay
straight
attention.
Towards Tuscaloosa,
Have
the 5th
everything
most
ready
populated city in Alabama.
And again, that one's going to want to move in this direction. So I'm just telling you, if this stays on that same track, that's going to wind up in Tuscaloosa.
It's not long until those fears are realized. By 4:30 p.m., a tornado touches down just northwest of Union, Alabama. Damage is initially quite sporadic, with patches of trees being brought down. As the tornado crosses Wesley Chapel Road, only moderate damage is inflicted, but the tornado is rapidly intensifying as it approaches the small town of Foster's, Alabama. Fortunately, the only structure to experience the strongest winds is an old warehouse, but the tornado is quickly moving towards Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, that went right by
the tornado was caught on camera by John Oldshoe, a storm chaser live streaming for ABC. But his live stream is cut off as the tornado crosses Black Warrior River. The ABC tower cam then focuses on where the tornado should be. Through the haze and rain, the tower cam appears to show that the tornado has lifted. Seems like Tuscaloosa might have just dodged a bullet. Unfortunately, the tornado was only just getting started.
Look at the debris in that. Zoom in tighter, Jason, if we can go in tighter. Look at that. Goodness gracious. This will be a day that will go down in state history. And all you can do is pray for those people.
James delivers
too. It's like, just start praying. That's when you hear that, that's like just doubling up the intensity of the actual situation.
It's an ominous message, communicating to the people of Tuscaloosa the urgency of the situation.
All you can do is watch.
This is a large, violent tornado coming up on downtown Tuscaloosa. Be in a safe place right now.
The live broadcast shows the large, multi-vortex tornado quickly intensifying, taking on the shape of a wedge, a visual cue that the tornado is extremely powerful. As the tornado moves into the outskirts of Tuscaloosa, it clips the Liberty Recycling Center and a small community on Friday Circle, throwing shipping containers and damaging homes. As the tornado crosses this area, power lines are snapped, causing a power loss to much of Tuscaloosa. Before we go any deeper, I want to tell you about Displate.
No! Not doing the ads. Which Displate's cool, by the way. I just don't... There you go, I guess.
is still unknown, but it appears as if the tornado is aimed directly at the University of Alabama, which is truly a worst-case scenario because thousands of students could be caught in this extremely violent tornado.
I don't want to be so specific with this one. Again, based on the size of this, if you are in the city limits of Tuscaloosa or on the campus of the University of Alabama, stay sheltered.
A man recording the tornado captures the moment a substation is struck, causing another massive power flash.
I don't understand how you're brave enough to stand outside.
Debris can be seen flying into the vortex as an industrial district is shredded into pieces.
It's so fast.
As the tornado approaches Interstate 359, Ryan Chandler films the tornado crossing just ahead where he had driven moments prior.
Just imagine just driving
in this
over
video,
that,
the tornado shows what is probably the most impressive display of horizontal vortices ever documented. And horizontal vortices are only associated with the strongest tornadoes. While the now violent tornado crosses the highway, a car on the interstate is struck, killing one of the passengers.
No.
This is the first fatality attributed to the tornado. At the same time, several people are sheltering under this overpass. One of the few taking shelter under the overpass is UPS driver Jimmy Jones, and by some miracle, he survived. Several vehicles were rolled and mangled, including Jones's UPS truck. After surviving a direct hit from the tornado, Jones takes this photo, showing the monster that had nearly killed him. After crossing the highway, the tornado was now moving into a residential part of town. A public housing complex, Rosedale Court, takes a direct hit. Trent Miner films the tornado as it's impacting Rosedale Court, eventually taking cover.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
this is gonna hit us directly.
That's hitting you.
The lower quality construction is no match
Please
for the violent tornado. Much of the complex is leveled, sadly killing 9. The tornado continues its wrath towards Charleston Square Apartments. Trent fortunately survives the encounter, but tragically, 3 University of Alabama students are killed here. Melanie Mixon, 21, who was majoring in accounting, Marcus Smith, 22, who was studying management and information systems, and Ashley Harrison, 21, who was majoring in economics, finance, and legal studies. Ashley was only a week from receiving her degree in economics. Her body was found over 100 yards away in a field. Her boyfriend, Carson Tinker, a football player, was with Ashley when they took cover. Tinker survived with only a broken wrist, showing just how chaotic and random tornado deaths can be. 2 other Tuscaloosa residents, including a student at the University of Alabama, captured.
Can you imagine just having someone with you, you take shelter, and they are taken from your grip and just gone? No, that would be... I was like, I don't even want to think about it, you know?
The moment the tornado overtakes Charleston Square Apartments, with each narrowly avoiding the tornado to the north and south.
That's right beside you.
As the tornado continued northeast.
I don't know where my friend was at the University of Alabama, but he was up pretty high and just posted a video, and I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. It was pretty close to him. It wasn't like crazy close, so I don't think he got hit with any debris on his building, but
At nearly 60 miles per hour, more homes are struck. Video of the tornado at this time, as it crosses to the south of the onlooker, is one of the most incredible tornado videos ever captured, showing the immense power and size of the tornado.
Got my helmet on.
This video also shows how the tornado had an extremely loud, jet-like roar.
Also crazy, you don't usually see tornadoes in the day.
Several more homes are destroyed
rare
at
just to have
EF3
this one
strength
go
before the
crazy.
tornado encounters Forest Lake. The flat surface of the water allows the winds to intensify due to a reduced amount of friction. These winds rush onshore, violently striking and wiping out the large homes of Forest Lake Drive. Here, trees are reduced to splinters. The tornado now closes in on the intersection of 15th and McFarland Boulevard, a busy intersection on the south side of Tuscaloosa with several shopping malls and businesses. But also just to the north of the intersection is the DCH Regional Medical Center, the one place you don't want to get hit because an impact here will threaten the lives of many patients while also depriving the city of a place to treat tornado injuries after the storm has passed. Jason Rosalowski films the tornado from the University Mall parking lot. Unable to comprehend what he is witnessing, he continues to record, capturing what is probably the most iconic tornado video from this day.
Go Belk! I mean, it's fully brick and everything. Hi, thank you for the follow.
The tornado
But I feel
fortunately
like
misses the
inside
regional
when he
medical
has 30
center just to the
things
south.
hidden, you know?
Instead, the tornado hits the homes in Cedar Crest,
I mean,
where the
that's
neighborhood is
beside that
completely
center.
gutted, killing 3, including another student, Brandon Adderton, a 23-year-old studying economics. After crossing McFarland Boulevard, the tornado rampages onwards, destroying even more homes and businesses. The tornado races across the railroads, fortunately passing just south of the main University of Alabama campus. But the tornado is still destroying large areas of homes, much of which is student housing. One video taken by a student of the University of Alabama shows just how close the tornado actually came to impacting the university, missing it by only a few hundred yards. Had the tornado hit the university, countless more deaths would have certainly occurred. Fortunately, the university
It's weird how it
dodged the
just
bullet.
keeps changing too. Just changing forms. I don't know what makes it do that. I don't know. I'm no expert. Yippee! Thank you for the follow.
After passing just south of the university, the tornado is now moving towards the eastern side of Tuscaloosa, sweeping through Beverly Heights, killing 3, including another student, Danielle Downs, a 24-year-old who was studying social work. Inside one of the buildings on University Boulevard, Gomez Perez is filming the darkening skies while everyone else inside is oblivious to the approaching danger. Within seconds, all hell breaks loose as the core of the tornado passes overhead. The core of the tornado now approaches Chastain Manor, a residential apartment complex for senior citizens. It impacts the southeast corner of the complex, completely sweeping away the top floor of the entire east wing, scattering debris in the adjacent valley. To the south of the apartments, the clubhouse sustains even worse damage, as it is completely swept off of its foundation. Damage surveyors who analyze the path for clues into the true intensity of the tornado identify this location as the most violent section of the damage path. 3 different survey teams analyze the damage here. 2 of the teams conclude that the damage is high-end EF4. The 3rd team concludes that it was actually indicative of EF5 intensity. Outvoted 2-1, the damage in this area is assigned a rating of 190 miles per hour, high-end EF4. After impacting Chastain Manor, a mobile park home takes a direct hit from the core of the tornado, reducing.
If you live in a mobile park, do not take tornadoes lightly. Please leave. Go get sheltered somewhere. I don't care if you have to spend all night there. Be safe.
80% of the park to piles of debris. The homes on Elm Drive are the last building struck in Tuscaloosa, but it's still going strong. The tornado crosses Hurricane Creek, where there's a 100-year-old steel bridge spanning 570 feet across the creek. The bridge is held up by massive 35-ton trusses as the core of the tornado passes directly overhead. The trusses not only buckle, but are tossed sideways, including one which is pushed uphill over 100 feet. The rest of the bridge collapses into the valley below. The single point of damage cost the Alabama Southern Railroad nearly $5 million to repair.
Again, this is the storm that produced all the damage in Tuscaloosa. Large wedge tornado, a mile wide.
Even though the tornado had left the dense suburbs of Tuscaloosa behind, sparsely populated rural communities still exist in the path. The surrounding mature
time I hear
forest
it,
is
I
shredded.
just-
Here, the tornado
back.
demonstrates what is perhaps its most
carry
violent
load.
form yet. Manufactured homes impacted by the tornado cease to exist, while a very large house south of the core is completely swept off of its foundation. On Recreation Road, several more homes suffer a similar fate. The National Weather Service notes another 190 mile/hour damage indicator, once again just shy of an EF5 rating. At nearly a half a mile from the center of the tornado, the Eagle Cove Marina on the Black Warrior River is subject to damaging winds. Several boats sink, while warehouses are shredded to pieces. Lakeside homes are scattered into the water, while a quarter mile to the south, homes are swept
Is
by the
that- you just can't
apocalyptic
do
winds
anything.
within the tornado. Since the tornado was now
like,
over less
am I
populated
gonna be okay
areas,
or am
there's
I
a lack
not?
of any tornado footage. However,
See?
the KBMX Doppler radar is scanning the tornado at 2,000 feet above the ground, and now, at 520, the strength of the tornado reaches an apex. The sum of the opposite velocities, known as gate to gate, is 280 miles per hour, giving a rotational velocity of 140 miles per hour, tying the previous record held by the 2007 Greensburg, Kansas
Yeah, we're living
EF5.
in a
These
bunker
values
now.
are telling. A structure does not need to be impacted to know that this tornado is incredibly violent. Fortunately, there were very few homes in this area. However, there are many mines that dot the landscape. One person who is currently working at a mine is James Johnson. At 5:24, he begins recording the tornado 7.5
least he was
miles to his
aware.
west. While James is recording, a home is swept away into the valley, sadly killing Judy Sherrill. Johnson continues recording as the tornado closes in, now less than a mile from the mine in which he's working. In Johnson's video, the sheer power of the tornado is evident. It almost appears as if the entire mesocyclone of the storm has dropped to the ground. The thought of such a tornado returning to heavily
fine.
populated
I know some
areas
of those
is a
are
complete
worse.
nightmare, and
know
unfortunately,
big,
this nightmare
scary,
is about
fast,
to come
strong.
true. The tornado's sights are now set on the city of Birmingham.
This is coming right up here toward the Birmingham, right toward downtown Birmingham.
As debris begins to rain down on
targeting
Birmingham,
the main
the tornado
cities, it
begins
seems
to move
like.
into the western Birmingham suburbs. Several homes in the Valley Creek community are destroyed. The tornado crosses 15th Street into the Oak Grove coal mine. Numerous large industrial structures are toppled, while dozens of storage containers are flung to the east. The tornado then moves into the town of Concord. In Concord, framed houses are demolished and occasionally swept away, leaving only bare
It's so crazy how you can just see a path. But if you live right, like, look at this house. The roof is still here, but your neighbor is gone. Hi! Hi, how are you doing? And like right here. Like, oh, yippee! Thank you for the follow. I mean, that is just,
foundations. At one swept home, a concrete porch is
Yeah, it's just
shattered and is
delete.
shifted by the incredible winds. The next
Lucky
batch of homes
guy over
impacted
there,
on
you know.
14th Street are more exposed at the top of hills. This lack of protection results in several framed homes to be swept off of their foundations, with their debris thrown into the valley below.
That's
The
one thing I
tornado
wanna
then
talk
moves
about my
into the
story.
densely populated neighborhood, Pleasant Grove, a large suburb of Birmingham. Here, hundreds of homes are reduced to piles of rubble. And as the tornado crosses 11th Avenue, a 300-yard convergent streak of granulated debris is smeared across the ground in a process called windrowing. This damage pattern is
Birmingham,
only created by the most violent
Birmingham.
tornadoes. These intense winds are powerful enough to sweep and shift the foundations of even more homes in Pleasant Grove. Sadly, 5 more residents were killed here. Residents to the south in Birmingham record the violent rain-wrapped tornado as it tears through Pleasant Grove. This 1-minute period forever changed the
That
lives
was
of
pretty
countless
large
people.
lightning. Is that the whole tornado?
After ravaging Pleasant Grove, the tornado shows another incredible display of its strength. A collection of rail cars, each weighing nearly 36 tons, are lofted into the air. One car is moved over 100 yards from its original position. The amount of power needed to throw a massive rail car is hard to imagine. The tornado's power is shown yet again as 2 large warehouses are completely swept from their foundation.
Keep in mind, this thing has gone across half the state, at least, and not leaving. It's just been on the ground this whole time, just going.
However, the smaller core was now struggling to maintain itself, inflicting less severe damage to a water treatment plant and several warehouses. But still, the tornado refuses to die and surges back as the tornado enters the town of North Pratt and Smithfield Estates. Many homes suffer damage as the tornado crosses Highway 78. The industrial area of Hooper City is hit before dozens of homes have their roofs torn away. But as the tornado crossed I-22 and I-65, it was dying. The tornado musters up just enough power to inflict roof damage to a few more homes, but soon after, the tornado is gone. Even though the historic tornado had lifted, the storm that birthed this monster was still ongoing and would go on to produce several more tornadoes, including another long-track EF4. And that was just one storm. Across northern Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee, dozens of tornadoes were ongoing, destroying homes and businesses, while injuring and killing hundreds of people who were completely powerless in this situation. This day was truly a tornado apocalypse. In the overnight hours, the system that spawned these tornadoes would pass, and the chaos in the southeast would come to an end. A sick student, Morgan Seigler, would succumb to her injuries while being treated at the DCH Medical Center. The tornado had left 64 people dead, 6 of which were students at the University of Alabama. The tornado had also caused more than 1,500 injuries, many of which were critical despite not being fatal. In the days following this tragic tornado outbreak, President Barack Obama would visit Tuscaloosa to take a ground tour of some of the affected areas. Obama said he had never seen devastation like this and declared a federal state of emergency in Alabama.
And I've got to say, I've never seen devastation like this.
In total, the tornado was on the ground for 90 minutes, and during that time, the tornado caused a staggering cost of $450,000 worth of damage per second, totaling about $2.4 billion in damage over its entire path, surpassing the 1999 Bridge Creek Moore F5 as the costliest single tornado in United States history. But the record wouldn't last long, as less than a month later, this number was surpassed by the Joplin EF5, which caused an even more substantial $2.8 billion in damage. Aside from the damage caused, the other thing the Tuscaloosa tornado is remembered for is its frightening appearance. Multi-vortex tornadoes are tornadoes with pronounced subvortices circulating around the main vortex, and Tuscaloosa is the best tornado for visualizing this concept, as it had the most insane horizontal vortices ever recorded. This appearance is very indicative of a violent tornado, as it suggests high levels of vorticity aggregation, which helps strengthen and mature the tornado even further. The final rating of EF4 assigned to the Tuscaloosa tornado is still a source of controversy, as one of the survey teams suspected EF5 damage. But the thing is, just by looking at satellite imagery of this tornado, fully swept homes were few and far between. Personally, I believe this tornado had winds right around 200 miles per hour. If this tornado was ever solidly above the EF5 threshold, it likely happened between Tuscaloosa and Birmingham, because this is where there was the widest swath of tree damage, and also this is where radar.
You were in Birmingham that day?
Showed the highest winds within this tornado. However, it didn't produce solid EF5 damage for one reason. At an average speed of around 60 miles per hour, it simply didn't have enough time to produce the highest level of damage compared to a slower moving tornado, which is much more destructive. Ultimately, the tornado was given a rating of high-end EF4 with winds at 190 miles per hour. The Tuscaloosa tornado will be remembered for a very long time, as it is clearly the defining tornado of the most prolific tornado outbreak in recorded history.
My story. Dude, you're from freaking Birmingham? Sheesh. Glad you're fine, I guess. So my story is, I was with friends, right? I was out of town. It died right before I got to where I was. Okay, well, that's good at least. Good grief. So I was with friends. I was out of town. My parents lived in Alabama. So I went and looked at a map, and I measured where the tornado was, the damage that was close to my family's house compared to, or I don't know. I tracked the distance between the tornado damage where I was familiar with to my parents' house, and it was 2 miles away. 2 miles, right? 2 miles. 2. We got James Spann on the radio and the TV. He's got his coat off, So this should already be red alert over here. And me watching the weather, concerned, wow, that's a lot of tornadoes going towards my family. I'm calling my mother. And because I'm like, that is heading straight towards my family. Deadline straight, right? So I'm calling her. I call my dad. Call their house phone. I call my mom again. I called her multiple times thinking surely she's going to wake up. My concern was she's a light sleeper. She usually has a ringtone on, And I'm like, she'll wake up, right? She's going to wake up and listen, her phone going off, and she's going to answer it. I didn't get an answer. Nothing. Completely silent. I didn't know what to do. I can't just go and drive back to their house. I can't just do that. There's tornadoes everywhere, And I'm like just anxiety filled at this point, thinking something got hit, something happened. The towers could have been down. I don't know. I was just trying to stay positive, etc. So, the next morning, I couldn't even sleep. Oh my God. I didn't even sleep that night. I don't think. I was just paranoid. I kept looking at my phone, hoping that my mother saw me call and would call me back. Nothing. So the next morning, she finally calls me. And she said, "Hey, is everything okay? You called me a million times." I said, "Mother!" Like, "Are you okay?" She said, "Yeah, I'm fine. What are you talking about?" I said, "There's tornadoes everywhere. What was heading to you?" She went, "There's tornadoes?" This woman wakes up when a pin hits the floor. She wakes up when a pin hits the floor lightly. On the carpet floor. She will wake up. She didn't hear the phone going off. She didn't hear the wind. She didn't hear the storming. Nothing. She was out. My dad was out. I don't know. When the power goes out, I guess the power went out. I'm assuming it did. I don't know. Yeah, and so she's like, "Wait, what? Oh, there's tornado." I said, "Yes. Please just turn on the TV. You're going to find it. You're going to see it. You're going to see everything." And she's like, "Oh my gosh." Yeah, and so I went to go back to visit my parents that weekend. And I'm like, I'm curious. I'm very curious because I've never been to where a tornado has hit. And we drive 2 miles up the road. 2 miles. 2. And where I would see woods everywhere, houses everywhere, gone. Just gone. There was no trees. I could see in the distance. They're just gone. Trees were gone. Houses were gone. A lot of the houses, basically, they collapsed. I saw a lot that had roofs on top of the crushed, well, not really crushed house, but thank you for the kilometers. But like basically it looked like that house melted and the roof was left. There's nothing left of these dang houses. Some were ones that were solid were still, or I guess up, where had a mass. It's gonna have to be torn down. It was so bad. And we just drove through there, and there was really, well, when we could, of course, they had a lot of debris out of the way. So yeah, it was just surreal knowing that I know this area and it's not, I feel like I'm in a completely different place now. It was so creepy. It's the creepiest thing. It was almost like super silent that day. It was just, I don't know. It was creepy. And I've had stories of people that I know where, what was it? One of my friends, her neighbor, she was in one of the paths of the storm. Her house got hit, but somehow she was one of the lucky houses that was beside everything else. They didn't get a lot of damage. However, one of her neighbors, they didn't know about it. Unfortunately, the neighbor's daughter was a victim of the tornado. That's all I'm going to say. So that's really scary. And then I had someone else I knew, and it was I think she was one of my teachers. She was talking to one of her friends saying, hey, or no, her friend messaged her. She called her and she said, hey, are you okay? We're in our basement. We got our helmets on, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then as soon as they woke up, her and her husband heard the wind. They ran to the bathroom, jumped in the tub, and their house got obliterated. I mean, if her friend didn't call her, that would have been it. Wow. Okay. This is, yeah. And the thing is, this is the crazy part of the story, right? So they were lucky by getting that phone call from her friend to wake her up to immediately get shelter, and they were fine. No, they were untouched somehow, some way. The crazy part, they have a daughter. They had a daughter at that time, and, as a mother, you would be running to the daughter's room to get daughter. Daughter was at grandparents' house. She was not there. So it was just, I mean, they had something protecting them that day. I swear. That's the craziest thing. But, man, it was just, I don't know. It hit too close to home. Too many people that I knew. Luckily, I didn't lose anyone personally that I knew. But I mean, I don't know. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Yeah. So, but yeah, tornadoes, please be careful with them. Listen to the guy on the radio or the TV. If they're saying, hey, get in your basement, get in the dang basement. I don't care. Oh, well, the tornado's gone. Okay, woo, that's great. It didn't hit me. Not, oh my gosh, I could have been asleep this whole time. Don't do that. The weathermen are trying their best, okay? They're trying their best. Listen to them. They're the professionals. They're the experts. We cannot predict weather 100%. We can't. So we have to rely on them. We can't just go outside, lick our finger, and hold it up to the wind. All right, the wind is blowing in 20 miles an hour to the northeast, or the weather rock. You can't really rely on weather rock until the weather is actually happening. So yeah, but I know there's a storm chaser in here before, which that is super cool, by the way. Super terrifying as well. I did watch the video that was posted in the Discord. It's super, super cool. I forgot who that was. But you just cannot take nature lightly. You can't. It's scary. It's strong. You just do your best. Yeah. And warn others. If you have people in the area and you see it heading towards them, call them, something. Wake them up somehow. Yeah, that's why it's a prediction and not a fact. Exactly. The Gerald one, and seriously, my house was destroyed, but oh my gosh, it's terrifying. I'm glad you're fine. Dang, I've never been hit by a tornado. The closest I ever got was when it went over my campus. I was going to, I know I told this story, but I know there's a lot of new people here. I was watching the weather, tornado warning. Actually, no, I think, was it a watch at this time? I can't remember if it was a watch. But it was a very strong watch, as in it is a high possibility it will be on the ground soon. So, of course, my class, I kept checking my email. Class was not canceled. So I'm like, okay. So I'm walking halfway across campus. Oh, yes, Earth. Thank you, Earth. Yeah, Earth is the storm chaser. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Listen to Earth. Listen to Earth about that. Don't complain about it on social media. They're doing their best. Exactly. They're trying to save lives. Please do not yell at them. These weather people get death threats sometimes, and I don't understand. They're trying to help you. They could be like, nope, you're on your own. Bye. Good luck trying to predict where this tornado possibly is going. Don't be mad at the weatherman. Jeez. Stop that. No. Stop that. Where's the weatherman at? Where's he at? I think it was, I don't remember where he is. He's in here somewhere. Anyway, so I was walking to class, of course, and it's stormy. I remember, so you guys know I have a strong attraction to lightning, apparently. So I don't play with lightning when I'm outside. So I'm walking, and lightning flashes across the sky pretty close to me, and I start sprinting to my building. I sprinted. My backpack was flying up and down. I'm like, I'm not out. No, everyone's just walking around. I'm the crazy chick running inside. I'm like, no, I'm not letting this happen again. So I get into my class, and I'm on an outside wall. I'm not like inside the building. So I look out the window. There's the outside, right? So we sit down. Class is about to start. Well, boom. Power's out. Power goes out. We can't do anything. And they said, okay, as calmly as my teacher could, okay, everyone, we're going to get in the hallway. Class is canceled now. Get in the hallway. Do not leave the building. Blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what the year this was, to be honest. I really don't remember the year. This wasn't a major tornado anyway. It was more of like a lighter one, I believe. And so I'm sitting in the hallway, and I sit right outside the classroom door, and I'm looking straight through, looking out the window, and I can just see the wind just going crazy, right? I mean, it's going absolutely insane. There's like this patio furniture out there, but the patio bench weighs like 100 pounds. I'm probably exaggerating, but it was very heavy, very, very heavy. Solid wood, umbrellas and everything. There's some trees out there, and those trees, I didn't know they can bend like that. And I think the teacher saw me because I went like that, and she just closed the door, just gently. She would always have like close the door. She would just close, close. And like, great. And so I'm contacting my mom. I'm like, hey, there's a tornado warning now, by the way. There's a warning. Sirens are going off. And she's like, hey, I'm watching the weather with you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we're in its direct path. That polygon, we're in the middle. We're right there. When the polygon moves, we're going to be in that polygon. So it just starts getting really loud. And I'm over here freaking out because there was a more inside part of the building, and I don't know why we didn't go there. I don't know why they put us in the outside hallway. But anyway, whatever. So a lot of wind happened, and eventually it stopped. And we waited for a while, and then they're like, okay, well, power's not coming back on. Of course, power's not coming back on, so we cancel class. Oh, really? You're not canceling class because of the tornado. We're canceling class because we don't have power. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, teachers. If you're not in college, if you go to college, you'll learn that they care more about the courses than your life. By the way, just be prepared for that. So we walk outside. I'm going back to my room, and the umbrellas were completely torn up. Like the part that propels out, the wooden, I don't even know what to call them, the wood part that's attached to the umbrella part was broken in half, snapped, stabbed itself, the benches were thrown out everywhere. Again, those are heavy. Like, I would need help moving that thing. And then I look over, and the bleachers had a massive tree fall on the bleachers. There's a lot of debris everywhere. Luckily, the tornado didn't touch down, but it did go directly over our heads. Yeah. I think it kind of started touching down right where the bleachers were, but I don't think it touched down all the way. But it did touch down further out. So we got super lucky. That I don't want to be near one ever again. Even though it didn't touch down. No, thank you. I've heard too many horror stories with people I do know. And yeah, so don't mess with tornadoes. Listen, even if class is still in session, I suggest staying in a more secure place for your safety, etc. So yeah, that's my take on storms. That's my story of how it kind of affected me. And just listening to this guy, because, my family lived in Alabama. Where is he? He's around here somewhere. When he's here, the way he talks, and I don't know, I guess because he only is this intense when the tornadoes are out and going around, it just shot chills down my spine, I don't know, because I'm always glued to the TV just watching and waiting, like, where's it gonna go? Etc. Yeah. So, but yeah, I lived in Alabama. Yep. Yeah. Whippy. But yeah, so cool, fun stuff. Yeah, I'm not from Canada, by the way. Yep. Yep. Yep, so that's my story.